And good morning, everybody. Silas back today on this chilly spring day that should not be this cold. It is time for another cleanup job. It's just right down the road. Actually, it's not a huge job. I did a little preview in a video, I don't know, it was probably 2-3 videos ago or so. Can't find my keys. I got too much junk in my pockets. Hopefully I have my key to the gate. There it is. But anyway, Todd is gonna meet me out there. He's bringing his equipment, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take the skid steer as well. I didn't know if Todd was gonna make it, so I already loaded the skid steer up and got it ready to go. I did that last night, and then this morning Todd texted me and said he'll be there today. So I have to get it done this week, so I guess we'll just go ahead and take both skid steers in there. I've already got a dumpster set there for the iron, so I think there's one car there as well. I gotta air up a tire. I don't know why the tire was low, but it's really low. You can't really tell right now because it's kind of off the ground a little bit. But I got my handy dandy air compressor, so I'll get that done. I got one guy bringing an old car, and so as soon as he gets here, I get him unloaded. I'm going to hook up to the trailer and hit the road. All right, we made it over here. All sorts of stuff. If you watched my previous video, you kind of already know what's here, but this is for those that don't know what's here. Got a lawnmower out here, and at first glance it doesn't look like there's much here. There's a bunch of trees, and you can see one car right here. But back in here, it is clear full of scrap. As you can see, there are piles of iron back here, and tin and steel. And it just goes on and on and on, and it's all kind of sunk down in the dirt. You can tell it was on pallets at one point in time, kind of halfway organized. There's quite a bit of weight here. Like these pieces right there, those are about at least 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 inch thick. I mean, those are heavy pieces, and they're probably 10 feet long. These are probably about 4 or 5 feet long. I mean, there's probably 1.5 tons to 2 tons right here, just in this one little pile. And there's another even bigger pile of them over there. There's some more there. And there's quite a few of just those. There's some more down there. Plus there's all this other stuff that's all through the trees. This stuff over here won't be quite as heavy, but there'll still be some decent weight there. There's a bunch more of that back there in the trees. The car, I'm probably going to take it to the yard. There might be some good pieces on it. I've never really had one like this. I think it's a Fiat. Once we get it out of the trees, we'll look it over a little bit better. There's a bunch of tin down here, and that's all stacked up in a nice neat pile. I mean, once again, there's probably a ton right there. It doesn't look like there's a ton there, but that stack is probably, I'm guessing, I can see probably 3 inches above the surface, so there's probably 4 inches there of solid steel. Because when you stack tin up like that, it turns into a solid chunk of steel usually. Weight-wise, there's a bunch of this stuff here, then there's some tin, but then there's a whole nother pile of this on the other side of that tin. And then down there further, there's some more stuff in the trees. I'm not gonna be able to do all this by myself. That's why Todd's gonna come out. I'm gonna help him today, and then after that, I'll probably let him finish the job on his own. You usually just pay him by the hour to do this sort of stuff. He'll bring his equipment in, and probably gonna fill that dumpster there. I'll have him swap it out if there's enough stuff left over. And if there's not enough stuff for them to drive all the way over, I'll probably have Todd set one of his dumpsters and go ahead and sell the rest of the stuff local. I'm not sure how much of this stuff is going to fit in that dumpster. Obviously, if it was all stuff like that, we would way overload it, but there is a little bit of bulkier stuff like those barrels and other odds and end things. Oh, and up in the building, we'll get them out here in a little bit. There's a bunch of file cabinets and another big pile of steel. So there's quite a bit of stuff here, really. The main thing I want to do is I want to dig that car out. That way I can get that on my trailer and take it out of here. Because like I say, I'm saving it and I may not come back after today. So I need to get that out of here today. But we got all day. let's get something done. This stuff weighs a lot more than I thought it did. Even just one little stack of this stuff is heavy on that skid steer. I can't pick up this whole stack right here, and it's wrapped around this tree, and so I need to be able to pick it up and either over this tree or wrap it around this tree, one of the two. And I can't seem to do it with my skid steer, but Todd's skid steer is a little bit bigger than mine, so I'll let him worry about that pile. I'll come on over here, start working on this stuff in this area. You know, one thing I might do actually is go up there and start working on the stuff that's in the building. That way Todd doesn't have to do that, because I got to pay Todd by the hour. So this is a pretty quick and easy job here, so maybe I should do the more complicated thing to save a little bit of money. And the cavalry has arrived. Believe it or not, actually it was just right down the road a little ways further is where I did a cleanup here about 2 years ago. That's where we got a bunch of farm equipment and a handful of cars. I think there was an old Oldsmobile Cutlass back there. I forget what all was back there. So it's hard to believe. I mean, we're in the city limits right now. We're on the edge of the city limits, but there's quite a bit of stuff down this road. He's gonna come on in here and drive back to the field. So I'm gonna let him work on the stuff back in the tree rows, and I'm gonna work on the stuff up there in the shop. That dumpster there, we're gonna throw all the lightweight stuff, like the tin and the barrels and the stuff that's not very heavy or very good quality, because that's just gonna go local. That's a good thumbnail right there. Now with that, I want to leave him to this. I want to go up here, start dragging stuff out. My dad came by. He said he's going to go pick up the car and then come back and help me get the stuff in this area cleaned up. So I think what I'm going to do is wait till he's back. I'm going to go ahead and come over here and start on this pile instead of over there. wipe my knee out. It's too early in the day for this. Oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning. I don't know if I caught that on camera or not. I don't know. Whew. I don't know if I caught that on camera or not, but I was hopping up on here. I smacked my knee right on the top corner of the forks. Hard. Whew. I'm glad I'm wearing overalls. That would have really hurt if I didn't have the overalls on. But it still works, so I don't think it's broken. It might be aluminum, but it's not. Whew, now that's a workout. Each of those is about 80 pounds. And of course, the door is not quite high enough for me to get the skid steer in here, or else I could just drag them out. So I'm having to carry them out by hand. Oh man. I'm not used to walking back and forth carrying 80 pounds like that. I used to do it all the time, but I guess I'm getting old and out of shape. That's some weight there. Can't get it in there, it's too heavy. There it is. There he goes. I think he's gonna get all, or I know he's gonna get all the heavy steel in that dumpster there. So all that'll be left is probably one more dumpster load of lighter weight stuff. If there was a little bit more heavy stuff, I'd have the orange box, have that company bring back one more box, but there's just not quite enough. And then he can take that big pile. I thought it was aluminum, but it's just tin. He can take that and throw it in a bigger box. And then everything else that's left back in the trees. I'll go show you what all's left here in just a minute. Heavy. Making good progress. I think that's the last forklift or skid steer load, I guess you'd call it. There might be a little bit more left over here, it looks like. There's a bunch of tin left laying around down here in these trees. I think pretty well got everything down there. I think that's all cleaned out now. There's a little bit left right here. Looks like an old hubcap over here. I want to see what it is real quick. Oh, it's all mangled. Never mind. I'm just going to leave it right where it's at. Then there's a little bit left back here. There's actually quite a bit left back here now that I look at it. This stuff isn't super heavy, but when there's a bunch of it like this, it adds up. There's probably a good, oh, I'd say 3 tons or so left laying around here on the ground. And then there's that big wad of long tin or whatever it was back there. So when you add all that up, that's probably about a ton over there. So there's probably about 4 tons left, maybe 5. Yeah, I'd say about 4 tons. So that's not enough for the company with the orange dumpsters to drive all the way over here. So I'll just go ahead and sell it all local. Save a little bit less money, but they'll dock me if I don't have enough weight in the orange boxes, and so it'll come out to about the same price. But yeah, it's looking a whole lot better in here, that's for sure. She wanted this piece gone, but I couldn't get it with the skid steer, so we're cutting it up, get it out of here a little bit better. They cut pretty easy. Yeah. I think he's trying to get it all in that one load, but I don't think he's quite going to get it, but he might surprise me. He's pretty good at this. This is what he does, is pack dumpsters. So he might be able to get it all in just that one load. If he would have brought a 30 yard instead of a 20 yard, I know he'd get it all in one load. But it's coming right along. And we are back over here. I figured he's gonna get all that junk in this dumpster and he's not gonna have room for that big bale of tin. So my dad brought his truck back over real quick. Figured we'd grab that bale of tin, dump it, and then go get lunch. He packed all that in there, so I think it looks like he's gonna get all this in there. This dumpster is pretty well full. I need to call them. Yeah, it's just looking at this offhand, I really do think he's gonna get all this in his dumpster because he's got quite a bit of room in there still. So man, I did not expect that. Well, I was wrong. He said that's not all gonna fit in this dumpster, so he said he's gonna come back one more time anyway. So we're just gonna let that bale of tin sit there, let him haul it in. We're gonna go get something to eat. Todd just texted me a picture That's of the second load that he's hauling out of there. That tin was a little bit longer than the dumpster. I didn't realize it was that long. I thought it would fit in there. He said what he did is he stacked all the rest of that iron and tin that was left over at the back of the dumpster. That way it would sit in there at an angle like that and be safe enough to haul down there. This load here weighed a little over 12,000 pounds, and I think the first load weighed a little over 9,000 pounds. So there was actually more junk left than what there was to start with. Now that's not counting the orange dumpster. I won't know what's in that for probably a day or so. So I'll just have to let you guys know whenever they pick that up. I'll let you know what it weighed, but that's a lot more than I expected. That's what, 10.5 tons out of there so far, just in the 2 blue dumpsters. And so I think the orange dumpster is going to be quite a bit heavier than that. So I don't know if there's going to be 15 tons, 20 tons. I really don't know. If there's 20 tons in there, I'm going to get in trouble because that's way too much weight for that dumpster. But I guess we'll find out. Let's go out back and let's check out that Packard and that Kaiser that came in. This poor old Kaiser. See, now when he first texted me pictures of these 2 vehicles, he didn't tell me they were burnt. He just sent a picture, and the picture was probably from here to like maybe that yellow Vega wagon over there. I mean, it was a long ways away in the picture, and they looked halfway good. And I could see they both had the grills in them, and I could see the visor on this one, so I made an offer. And then when he actually got the cars and brought them to me, I realized that they are burnt to a crisp, especially this one. I mean, you can see it got really, really hot. It's all completely melted inside. The trunk on this thing is toast. I mean, there's nothing good left back here on it. And the visor got burnt, but I think it's still workable. So that is still good, fortunately for me. And then the grill is kind of messed up, but I might be able to straighten that out a little bit and make a wall hanger out of that. It won't be a high dollar wall hanger, but it would make a nice budget wall hanger for somebody. But when I saw the condition of them, I said, man, I hate to do this to you, but I can't pay you what I told you I would. I very, very rarely do that. He says, well, I guess I understand. So we negotiated, knocked the price down a little bit. It was mainly this one here that was hurting me on the price I had offered. This one here, the rear section, if I pull that burnt emblem off of it, might be able to do some good with this one still. As you can see, that's all melted, but if I pull that off completely, I think the rest of this I can still do something with. It does have these on it, 3 on this side, and I think there's 2 on the other side. I can sell those. The dash is pretty well melted in this one. I don't know that it's any good. This one didn't get burnt quite as bad like I was saying. And then it does have a good looking nose on it that I can chop off. And it's got some chrome trim that I can sell. I never did pop the hood on this one. It's pretty crispy under there. But it does have, I think it's called the Thunderbolt straight 8 flathead in there. Still has the air breather, looks like it's salvageable. Maybe the carburetor, probably the head off the engine. They're kind of cool because they say Thunderbolt on them. Good for arts and crafts. So yeah, there's a few pieces on this car that'll sell. Like I sell these 2 at a time on eBay as custom bullets for whatever somebody wants to put them on. And then this fender spear right here on both sides, I sell that to the custom guys as well. They like those because they have that little check mark piece down there. And then the door spears, I like to take those off and I save them for like the front ends of cars that I want to have chrome. You flip them over and then they're pointing this direction. You can cut them off and just screw them on. They look pretty good. So this car here, I was okay with the price I had said anyway, even though it's burnt. The other one, I had to negotiate a little bit on it. And then the other car, I don't know if I filmed loading this one, bringing it in here or not. I think I did. This is a Firebird. I don't know what year it is, 90 something, late 80s maybe. I really don't know, but the guy bought it for parts, pulled the parts off that he wanted and sold the rest of it to us for scrap. It's pretty much just junk, but it does have some good gauges in it, some temperature controls. It's got a few good dash parts in it that I can sell on eBay pretty good. And then I thought a guy could probably cut this rear section off. That'd make a cool wall hanger right there. I'll have to knock the glass out of it, but I've never had anybody ever in all the years of doing this want the back glass out of these. Back when these cars were late model, my dad would always set them aside, and the number one thing that got stolen was those back windows, but nobody ever bought one. And so they're not really worth anything. And then I think a guy can cut the nose off of this one as well. Kind of an iconic looking nose. Have to get a Firebird logo to put on it and go ahead and pop the headlights up. But that'd be pretty neat, I think. So it's really got quite a bit of good stuff left on it. So I went ahead and set it up here out of the way. Worry about it another day. And then I said we'd check out this Fiat a little bit better once we got it out. This thing is super rough. I mean, it's rusted everywhere. I don't see any potential in this car. The floors are completely gone. Got a little 4-speed in it. Maybe some good dash parts or something like that. It's got a couple of interesting bucket seats in it. Maybe somebody will want those to put in something different. But beyond that, oh, it's got a good roof rack on it. That's a pretty cool piece. Maybe some taillights. I think the taillights are good. Yeah, the taillights, maybe the rear bumper. I don't know. There's probably some good parts on here that are hard to find parts. It's not like you see these things every day. I think this is probably the first one that I've ever had. So I'm sure we can get some goodie out of that. It was definitely worth more than just shoving it in the iron box. But I really don't think it's restorable. I mean, anything's restorable technically, but you would sink so much money into that car restoring it that, I mean, you'd be upside down 5 or 6 times over. So when you're restoring a car, it should always be a labor of love. You should not be doing it as a flipper, unless it's something like you get a car that's still pretty nice already and you just do a freshening up on it and then you flip it. That's how you can make some money. Or if you do it like I do it, where you buy them out of a field, you bring them in, you clean them up, put tires on them, that sort of stuff, and then resell them, you can make a little bit doing that, or cutting them up for art, things like that. But as far as actually restoring a vehicle, you will lose money every time, unless it's like a 68 Charger or a Hemi Cuda or something like that. Then you can probably make some money. I was just back up here in the trees looking for some mushrooms real quick on my way back to the truck, and I saw this laying here in the dirt. 1942 Kansas. That's pretty cool. Never know what you'll find out here buried down in the sand, halfway sticking out. Didn't find any mushrooms though. You know, I've never found any edible mushrooms out here at all. It's kind of wild. I'm looking around, but I just don't see any, and I don't know why is the crazy part. I mean, this many acres, 20 acres, there's lots of good half-dead trees out here and lots of good habitat for them to grow, but I just never find any. Of course, I've probably mentioned this before, but ever since I bought this property, we've been kind of in a drought. The year I bought this property, we had just started the drought and it's never lifted. So maybe one of these days, if we ever get out of this drought, they'll start growing out here. So I guess I'll be back out here on Friday, so I'll see you guys then. It'll be a couple days for me, it'll be a couple seconds for you. And good morning, we are back out here. It is Friday now. They're supposed to pick that dumpster up today, and so I'll be able to let you know what that final load weighed. I'll tell you what, my knee is hurting today. You know, I smacked it when I was recording on Wednesday, and then yesterday I hiked for almost 10 miles out looking for mushrooms, which I had a really successful hunt, which you're going to want to check out the second channel if you're into that kind of stuff, because I found some pretty good things. It was a pretty good productive trip. For those that always ask, the second channel is called More Adventures Made from Scratch. There's a link in the description, or you can just look up More Adventures Made from Scratch. But anyway, until I figure out what that dumpster weighed, I'm going to go ahead and process this thing here. I just got to take the cutoff wheel and cut these cables, and I come in here with the loader and I can fork these aluminum chunks out of here, and then whenever they come to pick up that orange dumpster, they're going to drop me off another one at this location, and then I'll be able to take this. Then I have a load of engines coming probably this weekend sometime. I'll be able to throw all those in there. Well, I might have overloaded that dumpster out there a little bit. I'm actually kind of shocked they didn't yell at me. They just got the weight on that dumpster, and well, actually, before I tell you what that weighed, let's do a like challenge. I need to do this earlier in the video. I always forget. That's what all the other YouTubers do. Or actually, instead of a like challenge, let's do a comment challenge. Let's do it this way. Give the video a thumbs up anyway if you've enjoyed it to this point. But anyway, if you think that that dumpster weighed less than 25,000 pounds, say less. If you think that dumpster weighed more than 25,000 pounds, say more. All right, you got your answer in? It weighed just under, so less than 40,000 pounds, but just barely less. It's like 80,000 pounds total. That's what normally the semis that leave here full of crushed cars, that's what they weigh. You're only supposed to put a max of around 30,000 pounds in those dumpsters, so I am really shocked that they did not call me up and chew me out for that one. So that puts the grand total at what, 60,000 pounds roughly? Yeah, I think actually just a little bit over 60,000 pounds, so a little over 30 tons of stuff out of that place. I was not expecting there to be that much. In my head, I was guessing around 20 tons. But there was a lot of stuff buried down in that dirt, and he was actually having to take that grapple thing that he has and dig down in the dirt to get stuff out. It just completely blew me away that there was that much stuff there. That's pretty cool though. I'm paying the lady for the stuff by the pound, I'm paying Todd by the hour. And so the more stuff he got hauled out of there in the same amount of time, the better for us. The lady that owned the stuff, she just wanted it gone. And she told me, if you'll clean it up, you can have it. And I said, no, we'll pay you something for it. Now, like I say, I am going to have quite a bit of money in Todd by the hour. Plus, I got those 2 blue dumpsters. I got to pay him for hauling those out of there. Plus, I got my time and fuel and everything. So we do have quite a bit of money invested in it. However, I'm not going to just take the stuff. I wouldn't feel right doing that. What I'm going to do now is they dropped off that other dumpster out here. It's not nearly as big as that other one. I always hate it when they do this to me and they give me the little tiny dumpsters. I didn't need the great big dumpster like they brought me on the last place, but I could have used a size bigger than this one. They've got like a 35-yard box. That's the one I really like. But I'll make do with this one here. That trailer took up probably half the dumpster by itself. But I've got a load of engines coming this weekend. I think I may have mentioned that already. I don't know what's going to be good and what's going to be bad out of those, so I'll have to sort those. And then I've got this Mustang V6 here. I'm going to pop the billet housing off of that right now. And then I've got this old 2-speed rear end over here. I have tried to sell this thing. These things used to sell for cores like crazy. I thought somebody would want it, but I haven't had any interest. It was a good rear end. It just had a little leak at the front of it, but nobody's been interested in it for a couple $100. And I mean, it's worth about 120 or 125 bucks just for scrap. I didn't even get an offer on it when I had it listed for 200. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pitch it in the iron box. This aluminum, this whole one came out, or most of it came out anyway. This one here did not want to cooperate. And so I finally just got about half of it out of there. It's better than nothing, I guess. I see why he didn't bother to clean it. If you're doing that by hand, that would have taken forever. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on. I gotta go run some errands today. Just lots of other odds and things. I may not record much again until we get the crusher out of here. Hopefully next week sometime they're gonna come grab that. So until we get it moved to the other yard, like I say, I may not record much, but I've got, at this point in time of recording this, I've got like 10 videos recorded that I haven't edited yet, so I really don't need to record any more material. Just this time of year, just with us moving and all sorts of crazy things going on, I just have not had time to do nearly as much as what I wanted to do. But with that, I want to let y'all go. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and remember to get out there and find an adventure, even if it's a job, because sometimes a job can be an adventure too. We'll see you on the next one.